probably a lot to say about the full moon at 1 degree with the sun in Leo and the moon in Aquarius. It's kind of like a kickoff to what's coming, and I'm more excited about what's coming, and I want you to have advance notice of that so that you have a full 2 weeks to prepare yourself for what's coming. And in my mind, that's really what this current full moon is about, is getting ready for what's coming. So just to be clear, again, the full moon is right now, that's happening on Friday, the 23rd of July, is at 1 degree with the sun in Leo and the moon in Aquarius. And there's a kind of interesting twist to that, because full moons usually mean endings, culmination, fruition, which this full moon still means, but at the same time, it's actually a new beginning because it's at 1 degree, and then it will take us to the new moon at 16 degrees of Leo, where we initiate new things, and then to the full moon at 29 degrees of Leo and Aquarius, with the full moon conjunct Jupiter. And so when I saw these lunations coming up in the Leo Aquarius axis, I knew that something really remarkable was coming. Now, this is a switch, because when you have something like this, like a full moon at the beginning of a sign, and then the new moon at the middle, and then the full moon at the end, it usually causes a switch, so that when we go into each sign and each axis of the zodiac, we will now have the new moon always preceding the full moon. Okay, so that creates this important switch in like the direction that things are moving. So it really is important when you have 3 lunations in the same sign and the same axis of the zodiac. Okay, so something new is beginning. We're letting go of something in order to begin something new. So that's basically what that full moon on July 23rd is saying. And I can, you can see the chart up here. But that's really all I wanted to say about it. I want to move on to the next thing, because that to me is what is so much more exciting. And I want you to be as prepared as you possibly can be for that new moon that's coming. Okay. And again, that's going to be in Leo at 16 degrees. And so that's about 2 weeks away from now, depending on when you happen to be watching this video. And not only that, but it's on the 8th of August, which is a very special day. Okay. And I'll probably do another video even before that, because it's just going to, I mean, the what's coming in my mind is just phenomenal. And I like to compare it to things like Felix Felicitas in the Harry Potter books. If you're familiar with that, it's like this magic potion where anything you set in motion is going to work out perfectly for you. And that's, honest to God, that is what I think about these alignments coming up with the new moon on August 8th at 16 degrees Leo, leading up to 2 weeks later, the full moon conjunct Jupiter at 29 degrees. And that will be like the jackpot, the payoff. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at the new moon so that you have plenty of time to get prepared. And so, basically what I've been thinking is that if you have time, to get yourself ready, it's like you're finishing up anything that's left over. Okay. So from now, as we reach the full moon on Friday, July 23rd, moving then into a waning phase toward the new moon, which will be August 8th at 16 degrees Leo, you have that full 2 weeks to finish up any projects. Let go of what you don't need. Release what you don't need, whatever that is. And the thing is, for some people it might be very simple. Maybe you've decided to declutter your house or something like that, or get out of debt. Getting out of debt is a pretty big deal, but for some people it might be fairly simple, like decluttering their house, okay? Or, spring cleaning or something like that. But it's like, I'm suggesting you use this incredible energy for a life spring cleaning, Don't just like ride the waves and think, whatever, it's just a new moon and full moon. No, this is one of the most extraordinary lunation packages that I have seen in a very long time. Like stunning, magical, powerful, potent. It's like Felix Felicitas, a magic potion that will let you succeed at whatever you set in motion when you get to this new moon on August 8th, okay? And you can see it's in the morning too, so you get to kick off right away on August 8th. It's a Sunday, beginning of the week. You can set in motion, Figure out right now what it is you want and get ready. You've got 2 weeks to get ready for this so that you can hit the ground running when this new moon is exact on August 8th, Sunday morning. And start initiating the things that you really want in your life. Sometimes I call these lottery winning alignments, but I have to be a little careful about that because I don't want people to take me literally. Obviously, if you want to go out and buy a lottery ticket, that's fine. But from my perspective, this astrology is about helping you to become the best you. And sometimes in life, having something handed to you on a silver platter isn't always a blessing. Sometimes it's better to actually have to work your way up. And there's something in this alignment that it really is about the hard work and creating the foundation. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more when I show you the full moon, okay? But you can already see it with the North Node in Gemini at 8 degrees and Saturn retrograde in Aquarius at 9 degrees. They're in a trine, okay? And Saturn is moving retrograde, and it's going to catch up to the North Node and form that trine. And that is all about taking you to your future and laying a really strong foundation for it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that when I show you the full moon chart. So again, I'm not saying, you can't buy a lottery ticket. You can always buy a lottery ticket. But I'm just saying what you really want to do is think about what are your biggest goals and dreams, your life goals and dreams, like what you've wanted more than anything in the world. And take some time between now and this new moon, to meditate on it, dream, daydream, journal, create a vision board, whatever you need to do to really get to the heart of what it is that you have dreamed of all your life. So if you are in a job that you don't really like, or a career that you don't really like, or a relationship that you're not happy, or you're single and you want to be in a relationship, or you're not satisfied with your health, or you need to lose weight, or you want a better housing situation, or whatever it is, what it is deep in your heart that you long for more than anything in the world. And really take it seriously right now. This kind of energy, if you set things in motion with this new moon on August 8th, it's going to have an incredible power behind it. And I really think you have a chance of making your dreams come true with this kind of alignment. That doesn't mean it happens exactly in 2 weeks. When I get to to the full moon, I'll show you why I'm saying that. But the initiation is actually extremely important, okay? So now you've got at least 2 weeks, hopefully, depending on when you're watching this, but plenty of time prior to this new moon to decide what it is you want to focus on during that 2 weeks and set it in motion, okay? So a few more things I want to say about this chart that I really like is that Mercury is moving into an opposition to Jupiter, and the new moon is in a square to Uranus. Now, some astrologers or people in general think that any kind of opposition or square is a bad thing, and that's absolutely not true. And we also have a Venus opposition to Neptune. So we have 2 oppositions and a square. And so I want to be very clear that, I see a fourth one too. Mars is square to the nodes, okay? So we have 2 oppositions and 2 squares in this new moon. And so, some people, some astrologers might point that out, and I don't know if they're going to have something negative to say about it or something positive to say about it. But I will tell you my opinion is that a square or an opposition has tremendous power in it, okay? Sometimes even more than the trines or sextiles. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, especially the squares are pressure. And so when you have a square or an opposition, it's like they're forcing something to happen. They're creating a situation. Sometimes it's not a problem. It's actually fairly easy. You feel motivated. You feel inspired. But if there's an irritant or a pressure or tension, it can push you to do what you've been needing to do. Because sometimes, we go along and we're not listening to the guidance of spirit. We're not listening to what our hearts really want. Our hearts always tell us what is in alignment with our authentic self. And even if you pursue something that doesn't quite work out, like you fall in love and the relationship doesn't quite work out, it's still telling you what your heart wants, and you use that as a guidance system. And so sometimes if we're not listening to that and following that, it's like the universe needs to give us a kick in the pants or, smack upside the head or something like that to wake us up and set us on the right course if we're paying attention and listening. So if by chance there is some kind of irritant or pressure, or maybe a little sting of a gadfly or something like that, or a kick in the butt, which is the kind of thing you would expect from Uranus square. Now, that could just come as your own feeling of maybe you get some inspiration or restlessness and you're like, I got to do this now. And that internal motivation and push can be really good. But sometimes it's caused by something external that's not working in your life, that's not serving you anymore, or just wants to teach you a lesson and get you moving. So if by chance you experience something like that because of the Uranus square to this new moon, or because of the Mars square to the nodes, just remember, I think the Mars square is actually going to be more internal as opposed to external. Sometimes Uranus brings us something external. It's something shocking out of the blue, surprising out of the blue. We weren't expecting it, so it kind of like pulls the rug out from under us, and that can be uncomfortable. But remember, if by chance that does happen, it's there to teach you something. The universe is always trying to help us, to teach us, to guide us, to help us grow, okay? And so those little stings or kicks in the butt or slap upside the face is really trying to wake you up and teach you something. So if that happens, just, keep your mind open and look for what is the lesson in this, okay? And then incorporate that lesson, assimilate that lesson, and move forward. Because this energy really is trying to catapult you forward to create the life you truly want, okay? To follow your heart. Because Leo is the sign of playfulness, romance, creativity, recreation. It's all about having fun. It's all about doing what you love, getting back to your heart-centered, childlike self. And even the word heart is, in French, it's cœur, which is the root of the word courage. And we always associate lions with courage, okay? So the heart and Leo, the sign of Leo, and the sun, which it resides in Leo, okay? This is the sun's domicile. So the sun loves being in Leo. And when it's a new moon, the moon is dark and the sun is bright. So the sun rules here, okay? That's courage. That's Leo. Have the courage to follow your heart and do what you love. Make your life fun and playful. There's no reason why life should be all about suffering. None at all. You know, so that's the message in this new moon, is to follow your heart, know what you want, and set it in motion, okay? And that's why I'm giving you a full 2 weeks, even a little more than 2 weeks, to figure out what that is, that how you want to use this magic potion in your life and set it in motion, starting as early as the morning of Sunday, August 8th. Okay, so that, you know, like I said, I gave you a little idea about what that square from Uranus might be. I don't think it's a problem, honestly, but if it, you know, if for some reason it's a little painful, you know, feels like a little smack, don't worry about it. It'll help move you forward in the end. Now, the Mercury opposition to Jupiter, again, some astrologers will focus on the negative and say, well, the shadow of Jupiter can be arrogance, indulgence, self-righteousness. And the thing is if you've done your inner work, then you don't have to worry about that. You get all the benefits of the Mercury-Jupiter integration, okay? So oppositions with Jupiter, even squares with Jupiter, there's no reason why those need to be in any way negative. And in fact, I see it as incredibly mind expanding. You know, I think your mind will almost be so expansive. You will really need to get grounded with that Saturn trine to the North Node, so you can actually take steps and put things into the motion. That's why, you know, I'm suggesting get the clarity before this new moon, so you know how you want to take action, okay? So you're ready, you're prepared. You know what you want to do, you know why you want to do it, you know what your focus is, you have absolute clarity. Your mind is expanded by the Uranus square to the new moon and the Mercury-Jupiter opposition, and you just have so many ideas, you're optimistic, and you're ready to go. You're ready to hit the ground running. Now, like I said, there's a couple more, which is the Mars square to the nodes, and again, you know, with a square, sometimes there might be something, it happens in your life that's a little bit of pressure or tension, and that's just pointing you to how you need to work it out, what you need to work out in your life. But I actually think this is going to be more internal. It's about you wanting to take action to move toward your best future, your best present and your best future. And with Mars and Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and Virgo is all about taking action which Mars is also about. But Virgo is a little bit different because it wants the action. It's sort of similar to Saturn. It's the earth sign. It wants the action to be practical, like down to earth, like not pie in the sky. Let's get to work here. Let's make something happen. Okay. And that's really going to put this energy in forward motion to make those dreams come true. And then finally, we have the Venus opposition to Neptune. And again, I don't see this as negative at all. Okay, if you've done your inner work, you do not have to worry about this opposition. In fact, I see it as being extremely favorable. I mean, both Venus and Neptune are about beauty and the arts, okay, and love and idealism. And so just like the Mercury opposition to Jupiter, it's expanding your mind. Just like the Uranus square to the new moon, it's expanding your mind. You're getting inspired. I mean, unbelievably inspired. And ideas for something you want to create and how to put it into motion. And you're a wild visionary dreamer right now. And you are optimistic. And you know you can do it. And you can. I'm telling you, this energy will help you. Absolutely, to make your dreams come true, if you're willing to take concrete action, okay? And all of the alignments here say, if you dream big and you take action, especially during these 2 weeks to set it in motion, your dreams can come true. So let's jump over really quickly to the full moon. Like I said, I am going to touch on this again. This isn't going to be, I'm not going to leave you guys for a full month, but I just wanted to give you guys advanced notice because I wanted to make sure you knew how important this energy was. Absolutely do not discount it. I'm telling you, this is like somebody handing you a little bottle of Felix Felicitas magic potion. If you don't know what it is, look it up. And maybe I'll look it up for you, and if I find a good website that describes it, I'll put a link underneath. But you couldn't really do any better, or it's like winning the lottery. You really can't do any better with this energy. It's phenomenal, and you absolutely do not want to waste it. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the second Leo Aquarius full moon, which happens on August 22nd. That's also in the morning, so you can hit the ground running. And but you know, full moons are about completion, bringing something to fruition. That's why you want to know what you're going to do as soon as we hit that new moon on August 8th. And then you have 2 full weeks to take action and bring it to fruition by this full moon. Now, that doesn't mean that everything, you know, is going to happen all at once. Obviously, that would be asking a little too much unless you do actually win the lottery. But it's really about setting things in motion and building the foundation. But this energy is just so incredibly magical. So let me point out the things about it that I'm just so in love with. One is now we've got Mars in a trine to Uranus. Okay, so it's like whatever was kicked off with that new moon is now solidly in motion. Okay, you've got all the power of the warrior Mars taking action in Virgo, the earth sign, in a very practical, pragmatic way. And you can see that Mercury had even conjoined Mars during that time, during that 2 weeks, and is now in his own domicile of Virgo because Mercury rules Virgo. So Mercury is optimized in Virgo. So having that Mars and Mercury in Virgo means that you know where you're going, you're focused, you've got clarity, and you can actually put that energy in motion in a way that will lead to practical, pragmatic, grounded action. Okay? The other thing that's so extraordinary about this that I mentioned to you, we've also got an air trine with the North Node at 7 degrees of Gemini. And by the way, Gemini is also ruled by Mercury. So when Mercury is happy, which it is, it's moving direct in its own sign of Virgo, then whatever is in Gemini is also happy, okay? And the North Node is all about the direction of your evolution. The North Node is an energy similar to Jupiter. They're both very optimistic, forward-looking, and focused on, creating your future, expanding your life, moving you in the direction you want to go in. It's a very optimistic, positive, favorable, beneficial energy, just like Jupiter. So you have that North Node in Gemini at 7 degrees in a trine to Venus. Venus in Libra, and that is the sign that she rules. So she's super happy too. And so, it's like we've got all the beneficial energy optimized right now. So Venus is optimized in her own sign of Libra, and she's in a trine to the North Node. And she also rules Taurus. And so, like I said, all the planets in Taurus are happy now too. And so with Uranus in the trine to Mars, they're all optimized right now. So not only do we have the North Node, this incredibly beneficial energy that's trying to take you in the direction of your evolution, very happy in Gemini because Mercury is happy. It's in a trine to Venus, who is super happy because she's in her domicile, and they're both trining Saturn. And Saturn also is a co-ruler of Aquarius. So Saturn is also optimized in Aquarius, okay? And you've got these three in a grand air trine. North Node in Gemini at 7 degrees, Venus in Libra at 7 degrees, and Saturn retrograde in Aquarius at 8 degrees. Now, I want to say just one thing about the retrograde Saturn, because sometimes also there's this impression that retrograde is bad, and that's not true. It is sometimes more true when you have the inner planets like Mercury, Mars, or Venus retrograde. They can bring up some problems during their retrograde period, but the outer planets are not a problem when they're retrograde. In fact, Saturn retrograde in this grand air trine to beneficial North Node and beneficial Venus is probably in some ways may even work out better than if it were direct. And the reason for that is because of the fact that with Saturn retrograde, it's like it's digging deeper to create its foundation. So when I was looking at the charts, I was thinking about if you were to build a skyscraper, you would want to dig extremely deep into the ground. And in fact, I saw some videos where they were going to build the Freedom Tower where the Twin Towers used to stand, and they have to dig super, super deep into the ground. And then pour in the concrete and put in the rebar and the steel, because they got to get the foundation as strong as it can be, as deep as it can be, in order to build up a building that will be able to last a very long time and be very safe. And we know how important that is because of that collapse of that condominium in Surfside, Florida. And by the way, I did some research on that, and I found a video by a guy who was an architect, and he did a ton of research and gathered all the information he could on what had happened. And he concluded that, like, the first problem that led to the collapse was in the architectural plans. Apparently, they were not the foundation of the pool deck was not sloped to drain water, okay? And Florida can be very rainy. So there was a lot of water that over the years, and I think it was like 40 years, they were doing a 40-year recertification. So during that 40 years, all the water that had like puddled or accumulated on that flat pool deck was never drained off. It could only evaporate. And so over the years, it took a toll on that pool deck, and that's actually what led to the collapse. The pool deck actually collapsed first, and you can see it in the videos that have been collected and put on the internet, that the pool deck collapsed first, and there was water drain, like pouring out into the underground garage, and it was actually only within a few minutes. I don't know exactly how long it was. Maximum, I would say 15 minutes from the time the pool deck collapsed, that almost the entire building collapsed. And so most people, because it was in the evening, most people didn't even have any warning. And that's the absolutely devastating thing about not creating a strong foundation. But this Saturn in a trine to the North Node in Venus, and they're all just like their optimized energy, and the Saturn retrograde is really going to help you to dig as deep as you can and create that strong foundation, so that whatever you create at this time between the new moon on August 8th and this full moon on August 22nd is going to last, and it's going to work for you. And that's why I said you don't want to waste this on, meaningless crap, okay? You want to put this in motion for the things that are the absolute most important to you. The things you have dreamed of and desired your entire life. Okay? Your biggest goals and dream. Even the things you were afraid to hope for. Okay? That's what you need to start working toward during this 2 weeks. And again, like I said, that doesn't mean it's all going to come to fruition. Something may happen though, actually, because this full moon is actually conjunct Jupiter. And that's why I say there's a jackpot at the end. So something could actually come from it. We've also got Mercury in opposition to Neptune, which again is mind expanding. Your mind is just going to be so open and creative and imaginative. There's this genius kind of ingenuity, that your mind is just dreaming so big, and you're optimistic about it too. And that Mercury opposition to Neptune is forming trines and sextiles to Pluto. And one of the things I've discovered is that there are these alignments that astrologers call millionaire alignments or billionaire alignments. And these are the kinds of planetary alignments that we see when we talk about, what I like to call the lottery alignments, or lottery winning alignments, or Felix Felicitas, or millionaire alignments, or billionaire alignments, because we'll start with the fact that the sun is in Leo. So sun is in his own domicile, super happy there at 29 degrees. That's called the king's degree or the billionaire's degree. And so right off the bat, we've got that going for us. Then, like I mentioned, we've got Mars happily in a trine to Uranus, and Uranus is happy in Taurus, and we've got Mercury in his own domicile in Virgo, and they're all working toward putting this dream, this vision, this ideal into action, grounded, practical, pragmatic action. And then we've got Venus in her own sign of Libra, and she's in a grand air trine with the North Node in Gemini, which is super happy because Mercury is super happy, and Saturn in its own domicile of Aquarius. And like I said, I actually like the Saturn retrograde. I actually think that will lead to something better in the end. Then when Saturn does go direct over those degrees, it's like you dug deep. Now Saturn goes direct, and that's when you're like pouring that concrete into that rebar and steel, and you're building that foundation so strong that whatever you put in motion will last. You really couldn't ask for anything better than that. So then the final topper jackpot is the Jupiter moon, full moon conjunction, okay? And Jupiter is the great benefic, so that's the big jackpot. So I think you could actually see something come to fruition with this full moon. Now, it's not going to be the whole picture because, Saturn's trying to lay the groundwork for this to last for the rest of your life. So again, could be meeting someone, falling in love, could be your ideal partner that you always dreamed of. That would be awesome. Could be you deciding what you want and starting to take the steps, Could be you committing to health goals like weight loss goals, exercising, eating better. Could be you deciding you're not happy with your job, you want a better job, you go out and you spend that 2 weeks sending out resumes, applying for jobs, contacting people, and then something pops up. And you get an interview or something like that. Or it could be you go out house hunting and you find your dream home and you put in an application for a mortgage and it comes through. There's a lot of different ways that this magical energy could work for you. And so I'm just saying that if by chance you don't see that magic jackpot during this full moon, don't give up, because things are working under the surface with Saturn. And when Saturn goes direct and moves over these degrees again, especially when it hits 8 degrees of Aquarius, 44 minutes, it's like that's when it says, okay, you did your hard work. You dug deep. You built the foundation. We're ready to start building the skyscraper now. So I think that pretty much gives you the foundation that you need to use this extraordinary energy to the absolute best you possibly can. And like I said, I will be back during the time period that we're looking at here from full moon to full moon to give you some more motivational talks about the new moon and full moon coming up, because really, as far as transits go, this is one of the most extraordinary 2-week periods I've seen in a very, very long time, between the new moon of August 8th and the full moon of August 22nd. But I wanted to give you plenty of time to get ready for it so you do not waste this energy. All right, so that's it for today. And